You are now listening to episode 67 of Hello Hello Kopi Ke Milo podcast with your boy Milo Fico, and today's guest is one and only
Anwar
Anwar
Hadi.
Hadi. This guy is a podcaster, a musician, an actor, a husband, a creator, a creative person, all in all, and so goddamn inspiring, bro. This podcast is for aspiring creators out there. Listen to it on Spotify or YouTube, up to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy, brother, back and sis. Woo!
Anwar Hadi. Hey, this guy.
Test 1, 2, test. Alright, you ready? Ready?
Yours is clear, yours is crispy.
Because we goreng it pretty nice lah.
Right.
It's a flour batter yang best.
Alright, this is Hello Hello Kopi Ke Milo podcast, and today we have Mr. Anwar Hadi.
Hello.
The person, the all-rounder, creative human soul being.
I'm a more round of a person than I was a couple years ago.
For those listeners who don't know who you are, man, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as just a regular ass Malay dude who's trying, man.
Like, you work so hard. You work.
Why do you say that?
Because I feel like it's not easy to be a teacher and then to cross over to be a performer.
Yeah. I think in certain aspects what teachers do is perform. Because, if you think about it, teachers are there on a stage, if you'd like, and teachers have an audience, and they're trying to deliver something to the audience. Chuma, as a teacher, and what made me unhappy as a teacher was what I was trying to deliver, and the audience that I had to deliver that material to. I just and the, I guess, the powers that be that forced me to deliver what I had to deliver to who I had to deliver, and the whole kind of system lah. So I did kind of think of teaching as a kind of performance, and I guess that allowed me to stick with it with up to 4 years, because that was my contract, and I had to get through those 4 years somehow. So I had to. So I guess I tricked myself into thinking that I was somehow performing, and I found little pockets of being able to do that, I guess, in front of kids. But when it's time to move on, it's time to move on.
You're right. How are you like as a person, man? How does it feel like to be Anwar Hadi behind the performer?
I mean,
behind the character that you're playing in life.
I think it's 80% being really sleepy, 20% being hungry, man. That's it. That's 100% me, man. I think lah. I don't know if people would disagree.
Have you always been this performer, or have you always had this voice back in your mind that you wanted to perform?
I don't know. Thinking back, did I ever really want to perform? I can't really be sure, because maybe my earliest memory of wanting to perform was back in primary school, right? We had choral speaking dulu dekat SK Iskandar, and Dajah Tiga, when I was 9, and some of my friends would get picked to do choral speaking, and myself, I saw these people getting to go to choral speaking practice and not go to class and not have to attend the classes that I had to go to, and I was so jealous. I was like, wait a minute, why do I have to be in class and they get to go have fun over there?
Yeah,
I want to do that too. That's probably my first memory of having a desire to to perform, but that's purely out of my laziness lah. Macam I don't want to be in class and learn and do all
Right.
this homework.
I mean, all the subjects are boring, anyways. Right.
Yeah, I mean almost all of them. For me at least, I don't think I like being in school a lot, but I did try very hard. But it never really occurred to me to do performance art or any kind of performing in front of people until probably my early 20s, which was about 10 years ago. And that was performing in front of a camera. Really, I don't know if I could perform in front of real people quite yet. But I do remember being small. I don't know how old I was, but I was watching like Harry Potter 1, the movie, not the book. I've never read the books because blasphemy and everything. But I do remember watching the Harry Potter 1 movie and sort of repeating everything that they had to say. Macam when small little baby Daniel Radcliffe said anything, and I would repeat after him, and then Hermione would say something, and I would say the same thing, and I would just repeat everything they had to say. And I've noticed that I still do that to this day. I do like to repeat what is being said on screen, and I have to consciously stop myself from doing it, which no, this is annoying to the people around you. Stop. And just enjoy the goddamn movie. Don't try to act in your when nobody's watching. But yeah, those are some of my earliest memories of wanting to perform. But I do also remember being very much an introverted child. My aunts, I guess, tell me that I used to be a rather talkative small kid. Back when I was born in Kelantan, and I was very talkative. I don't remember this. And then when I was 6, I moved with my parents to New Zealand because my father did his TESOL degree in University of Otago, New Zealand, and he brought the whole family along. So I got to be in school there for 2 years. And then when we came back, my parents initially wanted to go back to Kelantan, but there were no teaching or job openings there. So my father decided to move to Kedah, and the whole family moved to Kedah. And when I arrived in Kedah, these are kind of my earliest memories of being human. I do have 1 or 2 memories before that, but not very clear ones, and they're very short. But in these parts, I remember having thoughts, and those thoughts were of being very, very much shy and not wanting to talk. And I think that was probably the start of my introvertedness, quote unquote, right. #introvert life. Because I remember thinking, oh my god, all these other people, they're speaking a language, the Kedah language that I do not speak. I speak Kelantan and I speak English.
Wow.
I do not speak Standard Malay. I do not speak the Utara Malay that these guys are speaking. So I was very, very quiet because I did not want to be made fun of, because you can't speak English in Alustar as a 9-year-old because you would be made fun of, and I was made fun of. And you couldn't speak Kelantan, apatah lagi kan, lagi teruk kena made fun of. So I was quiet the whole time, macam the whole when I was 8, 9, 10, I just did not have friends. And I just remember keeping a lot of things to myself and being quiet, up to a point where when I started making videos in my early 20s, my former teachers would watch those videos, and they would say, macam, Anwar, you speak more in one video than you spoke for 5 years in school.
Damn.
I realized this. I did not talk a whole lot in school at all.
Mm.
So it's no wonder that none of my teachers chose me for choral speaking because I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Because
It's all in your head.
Yeah, it's all in
Right.
my head. Now she's touching his chest. Now, do you know that song?
What song?
Mr. Brightside. It's all
Oh,
in
yeah,
my
yeah.
head.
Killers.
Yeah. And yeah, I never got chosen for debate. I never got chosen for what's another thing that I like? Drama, theater stuff. Because, nobody saw any kind of performing talents in me because
You don't show it.
I never showed it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just thought it,
Mm.
felt it, and never took any actions on the
Mhm.
feelings that I had.
Yeah. Are you the eldest in your family?
Yes, I am. I am the eldest of 4 brothers.
Mm. How does it feel like being different from that sense of trying to adapt from Kelantan to New Zealand, from New Zealand to Halostar? Was that difficult, or was it was it an automatic transition that you don't even remember?
I don't think it was very automatic.
Okay.
I do remember from being a Kelantan boy to a Kelantan boy in New Zealand,
Mm.
6 years old and 7 years old. I do remember macam my English wasn't very good at all, so I do remember really wanting to learn, really looking up to some of my friends who were very smart. I still remember one of their names now, at least. Christopher. Christopher was this handsome white boy who was smart, and macam I don't know if he ever got nombor satu dalam kelas or whatever, but it felt like that.
Yeah.
Macam, oh, I have to be like Christopher.
Oh, right.
In my small child brain. And I really wanted to learn, and I don't think I was very good at English when I arrived in New Zealand, but I think by the time I left New Zealand, I had a grasp on the language already.
Mm.
And I think it's at that age, 6 and 7 is, prime time to learn languages. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's my assumption is that lah. And when one is immersed in it, which everybody around you is speaking English, you're bound to pick it up. I think
Okay.
just through osmosis, science. And then I had to transition again from being this Kelantan boy who could speak English a little bit to being a Kedah boy. That was a lot harder lah. I think for me, I was a lot more insecure. I was a lot more shy and tak confident in myself. Macam, all these people seem to know what they were doing, and all these people seem to have friends already. I'll just be friends with my brother lah.
Yeah.
I entered primary school in Malaysia in Darjah 2. So I remember thinking macam, I can't wait for next year when I'm Darjah 3 and my little brother masuk Darjah 1, because then I'd have a friend.
Okay, wow.
In this school. I get to walk to school with my brother because I just didn't have any friends.
So so you stayed in Alosa throughout your teenage years as well.
Yeah, I was in SK Iskandar, Alostar, from standard 2 to standard 6. Then I moved on to secondary school in Kolej Sultan Abdul Hamid, Form 1 to Form 5. And that's where I did my SPM.
So music came about first, right?
Music did come about.
Guitar.
Yeah. I was friends. Macam I had, by the time I was in standard 5, I had a group of friends that
Like a band?
No, I mean they eventually became a band.
Okay.
But at the time we just liked each other, and we seemed to like each other's macam taste in music too.
Wow.
Particularly macam NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Linkin Park,
Mm.
those kinds of things. that were playing on the radio and MTV at the time. And I remember going to school and, writing Linkin Park lyrics on pieces of paper,
Yeah.
and singing along.
Which year were you born? 88?
I was born in 1990.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, 90s baby.
Yeah.
And they kind of introduced me to more a wider listening experience.
Mm.
And they had older brothers who were heavily involved in music also, so they got to learn how to pick up instruments rather early.
Mm.
So by the time I got my first guitar when I was 16, they were already macam terror gila dah.
Wow.
So
So all these things doesn't just happen in the urban area, it's also happening all over across Malaysia.
I guess.
Kan?
Yeah. They macam I would sit into their jamming sessions and they would be so good and so terror and macam orang dia pun pandai gila main. And I would just be trying to get myself to play an A minor chord.
Yeah.
Which was such a struggle for the longest time. But that group of people, Shahir, Ammar, Fauzi, they were the ones who inspired me, I guess, to learn how to play an instrument juga.
Mm.
Because I like them a lot. I wanted to be their friends. And since they were so heavy into music, I wanted to be heavy into music too, so that I could belong.
Yeah.
So macam I listened to what they listened to. I learned how to play the songs that they played and stuff like that.
So all of this happened, I presume, after school, right? Like after school session.
After school hours.
So
yeah.
in school, like, were you a serious person? Were you a serious kid?
I wanted to do well.
Okay.
I definitely wanted to do well. I was raised to believe that I had to do well. And so
That resulted in a scholarship and all.
Yeah.
SPM, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
One of my macam life goals at the time at 17 was to get a study scholarship because I was really determined not to be dependent on my parents financially after 18. I really wanted to make my own way financially after 18. And so getting a scholarship was very important to me because my parents were school teachers and I grew up seeing them being not, orang yang tak senang, people who weren't well off. They weren't living in poverty or anything like that, but we knew that we couldn't afford KFC every week or anything like that.
Right. So I mean, it's just nice, but it's not a luxury, right?
Yeah.
So KFC is like a party.
It's an annual. It was an annual thing. Which I'm getting to eat KFC or McD or Pizza Hut. That was a once a year type thing because normal food is nasi putih, ikan temenung goreng, sayur optional.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of life. So I knew that I didn't want to menyusahkan them anymore for as early as I could, and I thought as early as I could was 18 lah.
And you did it, I guess, through a scholarship.
Yeah, I mean, I somehow got a scholarship to do teaching English to speakers of other languages.
Teaching English and you studied abroad?
I did. It was a twinning program. It was a twinning program between Teacher Training Institute in Penang and Macquarie University, Sydney, Australia.
Nice.
Yeah, I entered that program in 2008. Graduated later. I finished the program in 2013.
Nice. So that resulted in a 4-year bond.
Yeah, the whole scholarship was 4 years.
4-year bond of teaching.
Yes, I had to be in the Ministry of Education service for 4 years.
Wow. Okay. So when did it all begin for your sort of like first exposure online? When you realize like people are starting to notice my work, your work, like
your blog, or perhaps the early days of Twitter? How was that like? How was the whole process like?
So I started making, uh, I started making videos because I was watching a lot of videos. I was watching a lot of YouTube videos by Ryan Higa, by Wheezy Waiter, by Shane Dawson, by
No,
Philip
Wheezy
DeFranco.
Waiter, yeah.
Wheezy
Cool,
Waiter's
cool guy.
OG, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still making them, and he's still killing it. He still inspires me to this day. And so I was watching a lot of YouTube videos almost every day. No, literally every day. And I thought macam, oh bestnya, alangkah indahnya kalau I could be part of this community too.
Yeah.
And I tried to look around for Malaysian YouTubers. I found two.
2013, 2014,
2010.
2010.
2009 and to 2010. I found two. I found Afiq Din and I found Maria Elena Izarul. And I thought, macam, next to nobody's doing this. What the? So I thought, macam, I wanted to be a part of the community so bad. I started making videos of my own. I had friends in Teacher Training Institute who also were starting to make videos as well. And I thought, macam, okay, if these guys could do it, why
can't you?
Why can't I?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of reasons why, but I disregarded them, and I did them anyway.
Yeah.
And I was privileged enough to get a camera for my 20th birthday. I was privileged enough to have a laptop to edit my videos, and I just did it. And I started posting on YouTube because I wanted strangers to watch it and tell me how bad I was.
And you did it. You crossed over. What was the first video you think that got attention?
The first video that got a lot of more attention than I thought, because back then, my first handful of videos, probably 50 people were watching it. They were all my friends and family. Shout out my friends
to the
and
early ones.
The early subscribers.
Yeah.
My early Patreons. And but this one video in particular, it was, I was talking about Anwar Hadi and how she had just won an Anugerah Juara Lagu, I think, and how people on the internet were saying bad things about her winning, and they said, she didn't deserve it or whatever. And I kind of spoke out against that, and I thought, you can disagree, but saying all these mean things, they're just mean. Why do you have to be mean? Who was it? Lisa Surihani, I think, picked up on it. She sort of tweeted that video and tagged Anwar Hadi in it.
Damn.
I don't know how she found it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she remembers. But thank you, Lisa Surihani. I know you subscribe to this podcast.
Okay, shout out to Lisa Surihani
Yes.
for tuning in.
As she does every week. And tiba-tiba the views from being 40 to 50 tiba-tiba jadi like in the thousands. When it reached like 1,000, I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then, but still, it was just macam, whatever. I was still making videos in my bedroom in Bidong, and but then I made a video after that. That was my 6th video on the YouTubes. It was a critique against text language. What year were you born?
92.
92. So you might remember that the bahasa you, did you?
Bahasa what?
Bahasa you. So macam instead of saying kita, Kita, people would type in their SMSs KITEW.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
People
yeah,
did
yeah.
that. I did it too.
Okay.
But I made a video which I'm
Alright.
speaking out against it. Which I'm this language that people that we
Oh.
use in the texts don't make sense.
Yeah.
Which if it's definitely not about being economic with your
Mm.
characters. It sounds weird, and it's just why I don't see why anybody would do this.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's cute. But I did it anyway. I don't know why.
And then you got traction as well.
And then that one got traction. It's still to this day my most viewed video of all time.
Interesting.
Which is to say that I am way past my prime, and I am a has-been.
You're on different lanes now.
And that one people really responded to that one positively, mostly positively. I'm very thankful that it was mostly positive responses that I got from it. But there was a handful of negative responses to it, as anything you put on the internet will get, I think. If it reaches a wide enough audience, then you're gonna get people who don't like that stuff. And it's just the way of the internet.
How do you deal with that in the early days though? Because it will be different now that you went through quite number of years, but the early one is like, how do you just ignore it? I don't think it's easy to just ignore it.
I don't think that it's easy, but I ignored it anyway. I don't know why I had this kind of thinking even in my early 20s. I just really believe that trolls just want attention, and if you give them any kind of response, it's the attention that they want, and any kind of response is a win for them. Any kind of reaction pun, it's a win for them. So how I try to not let them win is to buat tak tahu. And if I buat tak tahu, even though on this side of the screen I'm so hurt and I'm crying myself to sleep and whatever, but if I don't respond on the internet, they don't see that I'm hurt. And they won't get that satisfaction. So I just don't give in, and I don't know why even at that early age I had the wherewithal to think in that way, but I did.
Oh. As your video views increase, right? Does the social media followings increase simultaneously? Or do you have to cross promote? Do you?
No, I didn't have
It's just
the
boom.
awareness to think about that at all. Social media strategy, even to this day, is a very big blind spot for me. Social media is not my strength at all. I just know how to pretend to talk about stuff. That's all.
Right. I guess patience is the number one key to your success, I feel, because like with teachings, with you relate it to performing, right?
Yeah.
But how do you cope with the system? You know what I mean? Because like looking at you and trying to analyze you from the outside in, you are quite creative and quite independent. You have an independent way of thinking.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, and looking at our system and the structure of the education, you have to follow certain rules, certain scope. Is that a scope?
Like parameters,
like how you teach them, what to teach them. Yeah, how do you cope with that? Knowing you're such a free-spirited soul. Because 4 years is a long time, and you did not have a choice. And I'm sure it's a inclined battle to do, people always throw around words saying that do what you love, but you are stuck in that point of time.
Yeah.
How do you motivate yourself to keep on grinding, keep on doing what you sort of not love?
Yeah.
get over to the other side?
Oh, in that specific instance about how I stayed on as a teacher for 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of it was looking forward to the end of the 4 years. As much as I'd like to think that it might have lasted forever because every day felt like forever.
Yeah, shit.
But I tend to look back on my life and think about I try to think back to tingkatan 1 sampai tingkatan 4. Was that a very long time for me? Now that I'm 24, 25, 26, was 13 to 16 a very long time? It wasn't. Sebenarnya, in hindsight, it was just I can barely remember 5 things that happened back then, right?
Yeah.
So
But it felt long though at that time.
at the time it
Yeah.
felt long. So I was confident that even though I'm in it right now and I have to go to school every day right now and I have to be miserable right now, I know that at the other end of this hill, it's gonna seem sekejap. And I have to believe that is what it's gonna feel like when it ends. And so I just remind myself that that's the reality lah. Because I guess Einstein was right. Time is relative.
Holy shit.
So it might seem like forever now, but in the future it's gonna seem like sekejap. And now that I'm am I 2 years past it now? Something I'm a year and a half afterwards. It's okay. It was fine.
Right.
It was not fun while it was happening, but now that I'm here, it was like, okay, sure.
Would that be your advice for people who are stuck in doing the things that they don't really want to do? Just stick with it for a little bit more. Because will it help or stop? And
if they can see a way out, for myself, again, I'm a very you ask me how I would describe myself. I would describe myself as a very privileged Malay Muslim boy in Malaysia. Very privileged. And on top of that, I had the privilege, even while teaching, I had the privilege of a way out. I had the privilege of already having an audience on the internet.
Yeah.
And that's a huge advantage. I think back, or maybe I think to some kid who's 24 and baru masuk pekerjaan sekolah and has just discovered that they hate it.
Yeah.
They don't have this internet thing to turn to.
Yeah.
Not in the way that I had it. I went into the teaching job already with 60,000 subscribers. Not a lot of people can say that they have that and can lean on that and say after I teach I'm going to do that lah.
Yeah.
Not everybody can say that, and that's not even half my bukan responsibility. That's not even half my
burden.
My contribution. I didn't do it by myself. That those numbers was because people paid enough attention to me. And if people just decided to not pay attention to me, I think I would still be a teacher today. And I would still hate it.
Yeah.
And I would just tak tahu where am I going next? Because I have zero places to turn to and feel safe. Because at the end of the day, nowadays lah, dulu lain cerita. Back in my parents' days, teachers were severely underpaid. Now they're just underpaid. So now teachers can afford to live a lot more comfortably than my parents did back when they were teachers. But so I probably would have been too afraid of letting go of that financial security that teaching gave me, that teaching full-time job gave me, because I didn't know what I could do next. But being myself, I knew that there was that opportunity of doing this internet video performing stuff full time. In some way, I didn't know that producing for the Lucky right now would be a thing at all.
Yeah.
But I did know that I had a certain skill set. I knew how to write. I knew how to make videos. I knew how to shoot. I knew how to edit. And I knew how to speak in front of a camera. At least in the way that I do it. And I knew that I had a catalog
Of videos.
past works.
Yeah.
Macam people can see that I make stuff, and I have already made stuff, and people have already watched my stuff. So I have all these proven skill sets that I can sandar on. So if anything, if anybody who's listening or watching this thinking macam, oh shit, I don't like where I am right now, if I had to quote unquote advise them to do anything, it's think about what you actually do want to do. Think about what are the skill sets that you need to be able to do what you want to do full time, and work on acquiring those skill sets. Macam if you want to be a writer full time but you've never written even a blog post, then maybe start a blog and start writing and start putting your work out there and prove to people even before anyone hires you that you can write.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Okay, so the transition from teaching to going full on acting, was that a transition? Like you went to acting class specifically, right?
Yeah, I'm going to them right now.
Right.
This is part of the acting class.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
acting like I'm on a podcast. But
So yeah, I mean, how were you aware that you needed these? Okay, you wanted to make videos, right? How is acting a skill that you need to acquire for your next journey?
well, back when I was, struggling as a teacher and feeling like every day was forever and I was